Your cock is mine now.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again?
Your cock is mine now.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. There's static in the line.
Hacker locks internet. It's Thursday, January 14th, 2021. Episode Z35. You are about to go down the rabbit hole with Joe and Brian. I'm Brian. With me, as always, is my good friend Joe. Joe, how you doing?
I'm well, on yourself?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good, very good.
Yeah.
That's a good way. I mean, that's a good way to be. Yeah, and I'm good as well, and I'm also grateful that tomorrow's Friday, and the day after that we don't have to go anywhere.
Amen and a women, brother.
All of them.
And we got Joan with us. This week.
Hi, Joan.
Hey, Joan. What do you got to say?
Fuck the EU.
What?
What was that?
Joan, say that again.
Fuck the EU.
Oh, Joan doesn't think much of the EU, man.
Oh well, I mean, a lot of people don't think much of the EU. It's not a It's funny that she should have that on the mind at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I can't hear her.
Man.
Oh. That's future president of the United States. 46.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. All right. So what we're really waiting for her to say is,
Motherfucker, give me 2 fingers of Southern comfort.
So, Joe, what the bartender bring you?
I am, Jimmy, I'm just belching. I'm actually having a bit of I didn't have any gin today.
Okay.
And I guess I had like a random moment of creativity. But I have like tequila, some lime concentrate, and what's the stuff called again? Tonic water. It's very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get down with that.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have the same. This tequila doesn't have the same punch in the face as gin does. So it's good.
For no real reason, I don't think, and maybe we've covered this before, but I don't know that I've really ever had gin.
Gin will make you sin. And
well, maybe I've had it then.
Huh?
I said, well, maybe I've had it then.
But having seen the Brian show when he drinks rum, you might want to stay away from gin.
Yeah, rum makes me dumb. Since we're ribing and flowing tonight.
Gin will make you sin. Rum will make you dumb. What else is there? If you drink beer, you'll have no fear.
Yeah, good old liquid courage.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still being good, so I'm just drinking my some Sprite Zero. I know you're not a big fan of the artificial sweetener. But... Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny when you say, "Oh yeah, I'm being good." In my mind, I hear I'm being good with an asterisk.
With an asterisk. Well,
it's a qualified good.
I know that as long as they're not lying about the calories, I know they're not lying about the sugar, because when I drink these zero products from Pepsi, Coke, when when I pee on the strip, it's still a dark purple. So, and for people who didn't hear last week's show, that's my ketone levels.
So how many days have you been in ketosis?
Probably since last
show.
Last Wednesday. Oh yeah, last show for sure. Yeah.
Good work, man.
Thank you. This is, and like we talked about, I feel great. I mean, I haven't felt this good for I can't remember when. So,
Wait a second, we can't have that.
I'm just waiting. I know. I know. I need to fall off the wagon, and maybe this weekend I'll order 2 pizzas and get a 12-pack of high-calorie beer and fall off the wagon.
Yeah, that's the Newman I know.
Mm-hmm. That's the Newman I know.
No. But because of because of things are the way they are, we can't have that. So, yeah, don't fall off the wagon.
Yeah. This is like not to sound overly dramatic, but I'm looking at this as almost a life and death type of a situation for me. Although I'm not really going to die.
Yeah, I was about to say.
If I do, but
did you?
I do need to.
I was about to say, did you just say not to be dramatic, and then you said this is almost like a life and death situation?
Yeah.
But yeah, we understand the gravity of the issue, and we're here to support.
Thank you. So, it's been a few weeks since we've had any news concerning Ahmaud Arbery. George Floyd's still no news, but we do have a little bit of news this week.
All right.
Ahmaud Arbery.
What do we got?
Well, apparently the lawyers for the men charged with his murder do not want the lawyers to refer to him as a victim.
How
they claim that it would be prejudicial.
Yeah. That's something that only lawyers can do.
Yeah.
Talk about the guy who's dead, who's not there because he's been victimized, and be like, yeah, we don't want to call him a victim. Did they say what they want to call him?
All I have here is the lawyer's argument is due process requires minimal injection of error or prejudice into these proceedings. Use of terms such as victim allows the focus to shift to the accused rather than remain on the proof of every element of the crimes charged. So they don't want the focus to be on the people who
the guy who
are standing trial
and how he got there.
The people actually on trial, they don't want to focus on them.
Of course, you don't want to focus on them. They should want to focus on everything under the sun but them.
Yeah. So I don't know. I can't imagine that's going to.
Yeah,
they've been throwing a lot of stuff against the wall. If we think back to over the past year, his attorneys have been just kind of just throwing stuff and seeing what sticks.
No,
I don't think this is going to stick either.
Yeah, I don't think. How much of stuff have we heard thrown against the wall in the Arbery case? All the stuff we heard I thought was from the Floyd case.
Well, didn't they try to get this dismissed for and they try to withhold text messages and
okay, yeah, you're right.
They've been fighting,
trying to keep racist text messages out of the
right.
Yeah, but I mean, like I want to know, the lawyer that came up with that argument. Who is that supposed to be designed for? Who's dumb enough where if you say, you know what, we're not going to call the dead person a victim. We're going to call the dead person a what's another word we could use?
An unfortunate bystander.
Sorry, what was that?
An unfortunate bystander.
Awful. But yeah. But like, who's gonna say? Well, now that you guys aren't calling him a victim, my mind has been, I'm able to think of this in terms that I ordinarily would not be able to. I mean, if you use another word in place of the word victim,
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, I can't see it. Even if the judge was to allow it, I can't see that having any real impact.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God. Well, yeah. Thankfully, we're not stupid, but hopefully, the people on the jury aren't as well.
Well, that's why they, well, I guess that's what the picking of the jury process is about, right?
Well, yeah. That's why I was asking. Like, who are they going? Who are they speaking to for that? It's like, oh crap.
Right.
But remember what I said. I'm predicting that these guys are going to, either walk or get ridiculously light sentences. So there you go.
All right. You've heard it,
Oh,
folks.
other quick thing regarding Floyd.
Okay.
There was an article that came out a few days ago that said Mr. Neil in the back of the neck is going to be standing trial by himself.
Yes.
Did you see that?
I did. Did we not talk about that last? I guess
No, we didn't talk about it last week. I think it came out like maybe the day after the show.
All right. We must have discussed it off.
Yeah, off.
Okay. Yeah. He's Yeah, we did. That's what it was. Yeah. So I guess those other two, they was able to extricate themselves from him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
How do you feel about the other two? Do you think they deserve as much punishment as he deserves, or
I thought there were three other officers. There's the Asian guy who was running
okay?
running interference, and then there was the two other guys, one on his back and one was on his knees. And I mean, to me, it was clearly I do believe they have varying lessening levels of culpability. The further away you are from the knee on the neck, the less your culpability goes down. So the guy on the ankles had one guy standing between him and the Chauvin. But I think they all should go to jail because they're sworn officers of the law, and for them to look at that and not see something was wrong, they probably shouldn't be walking the streets with the rest of us.
Do you want to move on?
What? Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah. So this is we talked about this case. I don't know, 2 or 3 shows ago, and we said we were going to keep following up on it. And this is really, I think, the first news I've seen on it. It's Casey Goodson Jr. He was shot by police in Columbus, Ohio. As I remember, I need to go back and re-listen to the show, but I believe he had like, I don't know, a Subway sandwich in his hand, and he was like trying to walk into his mother's house, I think, or his grandmother's house.
You remember how this is how this shook down? So apparently the victim, Mr. Casey, he had gone to the dentist, and then I guess on the way back home from the dentist in the subway, he passed a bunch of cops, and according to the cops, flashed a gun.
Yeah.
And then
there was all kinds of craziness that just didn't make sense to us. Like,
yeah, and we were talking about that, and you were like, this doesn't smell the past test. Like, why would a black guy do the one thing that's gonna, almost guarantee that the cops aren't gonna let this, just float by. They're gonna give chase, and so
exactly.
Yeah.
So, so we got some news here. The Ohio deputy who killed Casey Goodson has used faith to justify use of force before.
Isn't that what Jesus would do? I mean, Jesus, he wasn't some pushover,
He's
this image of this long, flowy-haired, hippie-looking Jesus. According to this guy, Jesus was
Yeah, this dude, he probably wears a WW or WWJD wrist
WWJD, what
thing.
would Jesus do?
Yeah.
But
Um,
Jesus seemed like he was a Marine compared. I mean, by this guy's telling.
right. The Franklin County Sheriff's SWAT deputy who shot and killed Casey is also a Baptist pastor and has used his faith to justify law enforcement's use of force. Baptists are some hard asses, man.
Southern Baptist.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, I don't know which type of Baptist he is. But yeah, Southern Baptists are. You know, they're they seem to like to come out on the wrong side of many historical issues.
Michael Jason Mead, a 17-year sheriff department veteran who goes by Jason, described use of force as righteous release in a 2018 video interview posted on YouTube by the Franklin County Sheriff's Office.
Does that give you warm and fuzzies?
No.
A righteous release. I mean, I could think of several references that could be referring to, but none of them are good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my mind goes completely other places when I think about a righteous release.
Oh,
but we're not going there until the
Yeah.
end of the show.
yeah. Yeah, I'm glad that my mind isn't the only one in the gutter.
Ah.
From the guttermost to the uttermost. But
Every now and then you have to actually use force, Mead said in the video, calling connecting with the community.
that's got to be a joke.
It almost seems like an Onion article.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's funny because after I read that, connecting with the community, then I looked at his smile, and
Because I read after he said the righteous release, and then on video, and then the Franklin County Sheriff's Office felt that was apparently maybe it was context or something.
We can go with that.
We don't go around looking for it because we don't have to, he said. Plenty of people out there will give you that opportunity. He says that people say Jesus said to turn the other cheek, but he responds by telling them to read the Bible. He said Jesus isn't talking about physically getting slapped in the side of the face. There is a release in our job that, righteously, we can actually have a use of force, Mead said. There's a release in our job.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? There probably should be a rule that you can't be a man who's charged by who carries a badge and a gun on behalf of the state and be a minister.
Yeah, I can see that. There's definitely I don't know what it would be, but there's got to be like a conflict of interest in a way, right?
Well, I mean, if that, or I mean, literally, a minister is a person who hears voices from God, or communicates with God, and God might give them images and put visions. And do you really want that guy who might get a vision or an image from God to be running around with a gun and doing traffic stops? Probably not.
I sentence you to be fed to the lions. Come on, we're going to the zoo.
Not again. No. Oh, but
yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. Mead, 42, was assigned to warrants and extraditions with the Sheriff's SWAT unit in the U.S. Marshals Fugitive Task Force in December 2013. Since 2014, Mead has been pastor at Rosedale Free Will Baptist Church in an unincorporated community of Irwin in Madison County, described by Associate Pastor Paul Moore as a little country church with about 80 congregants, kind of like the church I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
Not Baptist though, Methodist. Mead served in Iraq. Blah blah blah. Where's some more good stuff? Oh,
Yeah, we need to get back to quoting this guy because there it is.
stay,
Next line.
yeah,
Next
stay
paragraph.
safe. Oh, yeah, In 2018, recordings of Meade's comments on law enforcement and faith, he described his assignment with the U.S. Marshals Task Force as hunting people. Well, I mean, I guess that's what it is, but
Yeah, hunting people.
yeah. I hunt people, he said, garnering laughter. It's a great job. I love it. I'll bet.
Yeah.
In 2018, in the 2018 sermon posted online and since taken down by the Ohio Free Will Baptist Association, Meade was preaching on the biblical story of David and Goliath and talked about how he is justified in throwing the first punch. About 30 minutes into the 37-minute sermon, Meade tells the audience where he works and that his SWAT colleagues and bosses were there to see him preach. He told the audience that he has never been punched in the face during his 14 years on the job. Because I learned long ago I got to throw the first punch. And I learned long ago why I'm justified in throwing that first punch.
Now, the crazy thing is that cops aren't supposed to be throwing punches.
Right. Well, yeah.
No, I mean literally, it's part of the training and tactics. That, yeah, you don't engage in striking behavior as a cop.
Don't look up here like police brutality. People I hit, you wish you could hit. Trust me. Yeah. Meade also said it's contagious when someone throws the first punch. He likened it to David hitting Goliath using a slingshot. What we don't know, questions surround death of Casey Goodson, black man shot by veteran SWAT officer. Oh, I think that was a...
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah. One of my SWAT guys throw the punch, I got to throw one in too, Meade said. It's the truth. We have this little saying, hey, if you're going to get in trouble, I'm going to get in trouble too. So you get days off, I get days off too. We'll make a vacation out of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this guy shouldn't be a police officer.
Yeah.
I don't think
that's kind of scary. Like I said,
I mean, and I'm not anti-religion at all or anything, and I definitely think church and religion is for the most part a good thing for people, but some people, I think some people have this disposition that they just, I mean, how many horrible things happen because of someone's what people think the Bible tells them?
Countless.
Countless, yeah. And this, I mean, when he says throwing punches, I know he's speaking metaphorically. He's really talking about shooting people, I guess. I don't know.
Or maybe somebody yelling at him and getting aggressive, just punch him in the face.
That could be. But when I hear if one of my SWAT guys throws a punch, I got to throw one too. I hear that is if one of my SWAT guys decides to start shooting, I'm going to start shooting too. I don't know if he's talking literally or figuratively about throwing punches. Probably both.
Yeah, and that's why a minister shouldn't be a cop.
And then if he gets in trouble, oh well, we get a vacation. I don't know.
Yeah, he gets a vacation and somebody either in the hospital or dead. That's
Right.
That's not once again warm and fuzzies.
All right, Joe. So, the big news of the week, can't ignore it. Trump, as you predicted, Trump was impeached for the second time.
Yes, I did.
What
do you think about that, man?
I don't even think it. When he got impeached the first time, people might be, yeah, Okay, well, some of us didn't think it was warranted. Other people who maybe aren't paying close attention hears it and say, "Oh, he must have done something really bad," which he didn't.
Mhm.
But then I don't know, man. It could go either someone could say he got impeached a second time, he must really be bad, or he got punched a second time. It doesn't. It could go either way. You could either think it makes him really bad, or you could just say, I think they're abusing that rule. And I obviously think that they're abusing that rule, but
I mean, I don't think they're abusing the rule, because they can pretty much impeach him. I mean, you can be impeached for anything.
yeah, it's a completely political process.
Yeah. And so, insofar as it is political and not legal, basically, it's like almost how everything else in the world works. If you have enough people, in the room when it's time to make the decision that agree with you, you're going to be right, and that's that's what it is. And Pelosi had she had enough people that had a D across their neck behind their name, and they got their way.
I think some Republicans went along too this time.
10.
They I don't think they ever liked Trump in the first place, and they smell blood in the water now. He's weak. He's on his way out, so they let their true colors show.
I think you can say that about 9 of the 10. But one guy in particular, the guy from South Carolina, Representative, I forgot his first name, Rice. I honestly think, I mean, he's the guy that he actually voted for impeachment, and the clerk, when they saw his vote, they actually called his office back and were like, "Yo, did you really do this? Did you really vote for impeachment?" And the guy actually had to send out a statement saying, "Oh, no, that is correct. I did vote for impeachment." And then he had to go out and he's probably going to lose his job.
Why did he vote for impeachment? Do you know?
Well, because he thought that whole thing at the Capitol last week was beyond the pale. I mean, he probably. I mean, he, like many of them, probably literally were scared for their lives. They were probably really scared, and so, but that's why he did it.
Did Trump incite it?
Did Trump incite it? Mm-hmm. So, in looking at that and answering that question, you have to look at the totality of the situation. So and the short and long answer is, I'm not sure. No. I'm not sure if you can say that you're not going to find any, him saying go to the Capitol, take it over, burn it down. He didn't say that, but it stands to reason that a man such as Trump, who has used words before and gotten a violent response, probably should have known better than to, say we're going to march to the Capitol now.
What has he said that's got violent responses before?
You don't remember when he was running for office and he talked about hey, somebody should punch this guy and I'll pay make sure you don't go to jail, and the guy got punched.
Okay.
Yeah, there's that, and there are other, things like that where he said something, and he actually got a reaction out of it. And I think history will look back and say, yeah, Trump had a higher level of culpability for what happened than a good portion of people realize. I think, even yourself. And just everything from the moment it became clear that it appeared as if Trump did not win the election, he's been constantly revving people up in rallies, saying that people need to fight for democracy and that it is being taken from us. And so I think he Yeah, I think he did egg it on. But yeah, he did egg it on a lot.
Before this show, I tried to find the words that people are pointing to. The last words of the speech that he gave, and remarkably, I really couldn't find that he's been removed from the internet.
You go to C-SPAN.
And I didn't think to do that.
Yeah.
But as I was searching around, I was like, well, at least let me get a transcript. But here, this is obviously not a transcript, but this is what I found from the New York Times. This is how they, and they have this in quotes, so they're implying that this is what he said verbatim. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women. And we're probably not going to be cheering so much for some of them, because you'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong.
Mm-hmm. So in saying that, he does not go. He didn't say go and ransack the Capitol, but he also didn't say don't do that.
Well, the thing is he didn't say that at all. That's what the New York Times reported him saying. Let me play for you what he said.
So we're going to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I love Pennsylvania Avenue. And we're going to the Capitol, and we're going to try and give. The Democrats are hopeless. They're never voting for anything. Not even one vote. But we're going to try and give our Republicans, the weak ones, because the strong ones don't need any of our help. We're going to try and give them the kind of pride and boldness that they need to take back our country. So let's walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. I want to thank you all. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you all for being here. This is incredible. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So that's what he said. Nothing like what the New York Times reported, which is why I don't believe anything out of the New York Times. But that's.
But thank you for playing that clip, because in that it points to how he was riling people up again. He knew, or should have known, that when he got to the point where they were counting the votes from the states, that there was nothing that could have been done, and so to send those people there with the idea that they're going to cheer some folks on and change the result was more than irresponsible.
You're kind of reading his mind, Joe. You got to be careful.
No. I didn't read his mind. I mean.
Well, you're telling me what his intentions were, but you don't know what his intentions were.
I didn't say that. I didn't say I knew what his intentions were. I said that for him to. I mean, no. I mean, it's assuming the man can read and assuming he's familiar with the electoral process and how it works, which he should be, because he used that process to become president. He should know that January 6th was not something that could be changed by Mike Pence or anyone. Yeah. So there's no reason for him to have said that we're going to go down there and cheer them on and get them to do the right thing and change what they're doing down there. I didn't make that up. He said that.
Well, but that's a far cry from what happened.
Oh no!
What ended up happening?
What I'm saying is that, I mean, a reasonable person would have been like, "Yeah, this is a really bad idea. Nothing good could come from this." I mean, cheer them on to yeah, terrible.
Well, and this is just for fun, because if Trump is the next time Trump wants to incite violence, I think he needs to take some cues from the people who are really good at it. I think this is a 2-minute clip, but I hope you at least chuckle.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be.
People need to start taking to the streets. This is a dictator.
You know, there needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless.
When they go low, we kick.
How do you resist the temptation to run up and wring her neck?
The biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right to the right.
I thought he should have punched him in the face. I said, even if you lost, he insulted your wife.
Yes.
He came down the escalator and called Mexicans rapists and murderers. He said, well, what do you think I should have done? I said, I think you should have punched him in the face and then gotten out of the race. You would have been a hero.
I'd like to punch him in the face. I said if we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. Punch some people in the face!
When was the last time an actor assassinated a president?
They're still going to have to go out and put a bullet in Donald Trump, and that's a fact.
Look, as his character is stabbed to death.
Where is John Wilkes Booth when you need him?
I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
A Missouri state senator is under investigation by the Secret Service after saying she hopes President Trump is assassinated.
I will go and take Trump out tonight. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And that should be, everyone should take note of that on both levels, that this isn't, they're not going to let up, and they should not.
If you think we're rallying now, you ain't seen nothing yet.
I'm not impressed, man.
Nah, that's fine.
Yeah,
but if Trump wants to incite violence, he needs to stop beating around the bush and just be direct, like they were. That's all I'm saying.
No. You're that's a what phrase would you use? A cheap shot.
I'm just playing. I didn't make that up. I played what every one of them said. They said it. I didn't make it up.
Yeah, they said it, but you seem as if you're conveniently forgetting that one of those, none of those other people could claim to be the president of the United States. And I think that if you're the president of the United States, you should be held to a higher standard. You shouldn't be, you shouldn't be dragging the standard down.
So if you're Speaker of the House, the third person in line, huh?
Can we agree on that?
I don't think we can.
Why not?
If you're going to hold the president to a standard, you need to hold all of these people. Nancy Pelosi is third in line.
I didn't say that that Nancy Pelosi gets a free pass to incite and foment riots and destruction. I never said that. In fact, I also disagree with what's her face saying that they should get in the vaccine water that people should be getting in the faces of Trump. People who work for Trump. To my mind, all that stuff is left field, and just because the left does it doesn't mean it's right in my mind. It's still wrong.
That's fine, but again, Trump didn't even come close to that, and people, the only people who hear him inciting violence are people who want to hear him inciting violence,
or the people who actually went and
Well, let's talk about those people. Let's talk about those people too.
Let me finish my point. Or
okay.
The other people who heard him incite violence are the people who were at the rally, and then from there went and attacked the Capitol building. Those people also heard him incite violence, and they actually acted on it. Now, can you point to me, and maybe you can, but I'd be curious to see it. Can you point to me where Maxine Waters said something, and a bunch of folks ran out and gotten in the faces of Trump people?
Do you not remember when Sarah Huckabee Sanders was basically had to leave restaurant she was in because people were doing exactly what Maxine Waters said?
I do recall that.
Okay. Well, you asked for an example.
Sorry. So somebody, people were saying not nice things to her.
No, they basically ran her out of the restaurant.
Did they touch her?
You keep moving the goalposts.
No,
Joe.
you said they ran her out.
They were responding to what she said, or they did what she was saying.
So in room one, what's her face was like? Yeah, get in the face of. So they were at like a rally at a Maxine Waters rally, and she was like, "Yeah, get in their face, get in Huckabee's face," and then they went and did that. It's like literally the words from Maxine's mouth traveled to their ears, and then they went and harassed Huckabee.
That's not what I said, Joe.
Okay.
You asked for if there was any effects to the things that had been said, and I
said give me an example.
I gave you an example.
That's not a very good example, man.
Well, you can't give me any. You cannot give me a good example of what happened.
There's an example of on Wednesday. Hello?
No, I'm here. I just don't know what to say.
Oh, fair enough. Befuddled. What was the other point you were going to make?
Well, and I should. I'm kind of ashamed that I didn't pick up on this when you said it last week.
What's that?
You said that the fact you made it a point about how the protests / riots at the Capitol were like had wasn't a great example of like white privilege.
Oh yeah, it's a great example of white privilege. You know why?
Why?
Because none of them were shot. Sorry, only one was shot.
Ah. But for you to say that,
wait. Do you honestly believe? And actually, no, we talked about this last week as well. I said, do you honestly believe that if those people were black, that they would not have been shot? And you're like, I don't know. Then you're like, wait a second, we've been covering this stuff for the entirety of the program, and then they probably would have been shot.
But for what you said, and this is why I'm ashamed of myself for not picking up on it. For you to say that and to believe it implies that you think that there was only white people at this rally.
I don't believe that, but I do believe that the overwhelming preponderance majority, 99.9% were white, and had there been a significant, and I also believe had there been a significant minority of non-white people, there would have been more shots fired at the Capitol.
Do you recall any last year during the protest, all the examples of police going out and kneeling with the protesters?
I do recall seeing that a few times, but then I also recall being like, yeah, that same cop is going to go and kneel with those protesters. And, I think there was actually a story of a cop who was kneeling with protesters and the prior day was brutalizing some teenagers. So I never really put much stock into, cops, walking and kneeling with protesters. They're still men with guns.
If you was to look at all the deaths that occurred last year from the protests,
how many? I honestly don't know. I mean,
what I have here is first of all, okay, we got the riots, protests lasted 7 months. It was condemned mostly by Republicans, encouraged by the media and politicians. Police force used. 23 plus people shot dead, 700 officers injured, 150 federal buildings damaged, hundreds of small businesses destroyed. In the Capitol riot, it lasted a few hours, condemned by Republicans and Democrats, encouraged only by fringe political groups, police force used, 1 person shot dead, 14 officers injured, 1 federal building damaged.
You know the point that's amazing to me is that, like, it seems to me that you have to. I mean, you and people who are of your same opinion have to jump through hoops to find a way to not condemn this for what it was.
No. I don't think I'm going back. I still condemn the violence. I mean, it's like you condemn it because it's the polite thing to do. Like it'd be like, that has been the thing that's been most disturbing about this entire thing, because it actually forces me to reconsider my whole thought process about how. This is on a separate question about how big and how pervasive and how influential disinformation is. If that makes sense. This event, what happened, at the Capitol. Before this happened, I was prepared to be like, you know what? People are smart enough to discern, something that's bogus from something that's not bogus. And what this event showed me is that people who are otherwise rational, intelligent people, for politics, for some unknown reason, that all goes out the window, and they will be gravitated towards and believe in just about anything that's said enough times. And so that's the huge thing that's been like, oh my God, It's funny that you say that, because I think the exact same thing, only the other way around.
Now, I mean,
Two perspectives. We're each watching. We're watching the same movie, but we're seeing two different things.
Yeah, I guess. I don't think we're seeing the same thing. I think you're seeing something that. I think you're not seeing a lot that is there. Like, for example, the fact. The fact that you question. I don't understand. Yeah. This is.
I'm as baffled by your beliefs as you are baffled of mine.
I don't think you understand my beliefs, but I think I have a pretty good understanding of where you're coming from.
Well, okay then.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that you don't. I'm just saying, like, from. I mean, I think I surprised you a few times when you were like, well, because Black Lives Matter did it, is it wrong too? I'm like, yeah, it's wrong. It's all wrong. That's why I'm not sure if you understand where I'm coming from.
Well, we don't have to stop talking about this, but I think we do need to take a quick break.
Yeah, let's go do that, because I think Nature's calling me, and you've got a technical issue to resolve.
Yeah. So the people listening won't even know we're gone.
Ha.
Talk to you in a bit.
In a minute.
And we're back.
We're back.
So
through the magic of editing, it's as if no time at all has passed.
It's magic.
All right, and the last thing we were talking about, we were still talking about the
it's kind of like how well, as I phrased it, you didn't agree exactly with this phrasing, but let me phrase it and then you can correct it again. How we're both watching the same movie, but we're seeing two different things. Scott Adams, I think Scott Adams calls that like, I don't know, I can't remember what he said. Something about seeing two different screens or something.
I think I have heard him say something, something to that effect before.
Right.
Yeah, and I think oftentimes that's an appropriate lens to see this type of stuff through. I mean, in this case as well. But this is one of those things where like, we literally saw about the same thing, and for whatever reason, we're taking away totally different lessons from it. And I also want to, I said something a few moments ago about you not understanding my position. I also want to clarify to you and anyone who might be listening is I wasn't saying that to be snarky. I think a few times I think I surprised you a few times last time, and so that's why I said that. I wasn't trying to be
sure
one upish or anything like that. It's just
no, that's all good. That's all good.
Yeah, because that it dawned on me after I said it. That's the type of comment that could make a conversation go off the rails if someone were so inclined.
Nah, we knew it. We knew each other.
Yeah,
too good for that.
But I mean, I get the feeling that there's going to be opportunities to talk about this in the future as well. But
there is.
It's
let me throw something else out there, and I have no proof of this. This is just I don't know. Some might even call it a conspiracy. I wouldn't go that far, but what are the likelihood, do you think, that because like with the protests last year and when they did turn violent, there's the people that are there to protest, and then there's the people that are there to cause trouble. Could you allow for that to have happened here as well? And along that line, is it possible that the bad actors that started the trouble here were there specifically to cause trouble and weren't necessarily there for the cause?
Yes, I would say if I've heard estimates that there were, let's say, 50,000 people at the initial rally, and actually no, there's every reason to believe that there were some portion of the people that showed up there that weren't there that weren't part of the cause or had a different had trouble in mind. You don't show up to a rally with pipe bombs and a hangman's noose and friggin' twist ties to tie people up. Yeah, there were definitely some people who showed up there, showing up there to make trouble. And whether or not they were, that actually reminds me of something. Have you ever heard the phrase accelerationist?
No.
Okay. That might be something we should talk about a little bit later. But to answer the question on the floor right now, I'm in a weird position. I don't think Trump meant for them to go and ransack the Capitol, but I do believe it was foreseeable that, given the circumstance, that could have it could have been foreseen. It wouldn't have been a total out of left field thing to happen, that there was a riot and what happened there. And so some people did show up with bad intent, and those people should be locked up.
I can agree with that. Like you said, we're going to have other opportunities to talk about this. Hell, I've even heard that people's talking about armed protests at like Capitol buildings all across the country.
Yeah, that's a flyer I sent you earlier today.
Oh, I never got that, man.
Huh.
I even rebooted my phone, but it never came through.
Yeah, darn. But
but we'll talk about that.
Yeah, scary stuff, man. I mean, like, I think about the conversation we had about it last week, and you were like, oh, some folks that came in and they pushed their way past the guards, and they walked around and kind of, yelled and screamed while walking down the halls of Congress. But I don't think that wasn't the worst thing that could have happened. But another part of that thing was pretty darn scary. The whole showing up with twist ties and running through the Capitol saying "Hang Mike Pence." That's a little over the. That's more than a little over the top.
all kinds of things have come out since the initial reports, as I figured they would.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you see video. There's video of cops letting them in. I mean, there's video of, I don't know. I mean, how did they find Nancy Pelosi's office? Is it like right there as you come in? I mean,
No, I
I
mean,
don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not going to ask the questions, but there's a lot of stuff there that lends itself to being questioned. A lot of the stuff.
oh
that
no,
we see.
I mean, what you're alluding to is inside job, which makes sense. Like apparently, Jim Clyburn, the third, number 3 guy in terms of the Democrats, he's got like a secret office someplace in the Capitol building that the average person, wouldn't know was there, and it's unmarked, so it doesn't necessarily have his name on it. These, the rioters or the looters, rioters, they knew where that office was, and so there's every reason to believe that that some of the Capitol Police were in on it.
Sounds like a rabbit hole, man.
I mean, this is the crazy part. Yes, it is a rabbit hole, but congressmen are jumping on board. So like when congressmen start jumping on board, it's no longer a rabbit hole. It's more like mainstream then.
Yeah. Unless there's something else you really want to talk about concerning this right now,
Let me tell you what I think the fallout's going to be.
Oh, okay, yeah, that sounds okay.
Okay, so I made a 3-part prediction today.
Right.
Okay? And that was that 100%, 100% chance of Trump being actually this was yesterday. 100% chance of Trump being impeached. About a 50 to I think I originally said 50% chance of him being removed from office. I'm now thinking that's more like an 80% chance. But then I also think there's a 100% chance that that Trump will find some legal maneuver such that he's gonna be able to skate on all the charges, so to speak. And I think probably in the end there'll be some, there might be some DC state charge or some DC charge that sticks. But in terms of him being removed from office, I don't think that's going to happen. In terms of him being convicted and thus barred from running for future federal office, I don't think that's going to happen either. I think this is all going to end up. This is all going to end up in the Supreme Court, and I think the Supreme Court's going to rule in favor of Mr. Trump.
I know that there's always been a lot of talk about him running again in 2024, but I just never took that serious. He's an old man. I mean, he's right on Joe Biden's heels. I've never taken that idea seriously.
I get, I mean, he's an old man, but he's an old vigorous man. And,
he is, I know, but
and he's an old man that's lived a pretty charmed life, and those guys can typically, stick around and be in relatively good health for an extended amount of time. And so, but whether he be up to it a second time, yeah, probably not. But I think he'd be happy to be kingmaker. That hey, no one's going to be able to get past a primary without Trump's blessing. I think that probably would be a much more comfortable place for him.
Okay, as I said that, something popped into my head. This is completely a complete aside, but you know my theory about people who make a deal with the devil and have these unusually long lives, and
the Luciferian bargain people.
Yeah, the Luciferian bargain. And I said, you asked me for examples of people, and I was like, John McCain.
Robert Byrd.
Yeah, Robert Byrd. And I didn't mention this because I thought he was dead until his name came up recently in the news. Henry Kissinger.
You thought he was dead?
I thought he was dead.
Oh,
He's 97 years old.
Yeah, well, it makes sense because probably the last time you heard of him, he was old as dirt, and now he's that many more years older than dirt. So it makes sense.
That's all. I just want. I had that jogged my memory when I was talking about Trump getting up there. Anyway, we can proceed now.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see here. So did you have any questions or comments any more about impeachment and removal?
No, not really. I'll be honest, and I hate to say this, but at this point, I just don't care. Go, just go. I really at this point I don't care. It's his term is over with. I think he's done a lot of good stuff that he'll only get credit for maybe when the history books are written. But we're moving into a new era, in all kinds of ways, and so just got to go into it optimistic, and we'll see what happens, man.
What do you think? What do you think Trump will be most remembered for? Like, if you were to identify top 2 or 3 things that he would be positively remembered for, what do you think they would be?
I think he's done a great thing. I mean, he's made several Middle East deals. I mean, he'll never win it, but he was nominated for 2 peace prizes.
Yeah, Nobel Peace Prizes. Yes.
I mean, he's done great work, I think, in getting the Middle East. What he's done in the Middle East, I think he's done that. I think I don't even know what to really think about it, but it seems as though North Korea is no longer this thing that people are worried about. Not like they used to be, anyway.
Yeah,
if they ever really were.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's made us aware of the real threat that China is.
Okay, you know what? That's I would have said China. His stance on China. Mm-hmm. Creation of the Space Force.
Oh yeah. That's a great one too, man.
I honestly believe that maybe the only thing that's here now that will be here in 150 years will be the Space Force.
I was thinking about that just the other day for some reason. I don't know why, but that's something that we should have had a few decades ago.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Because I mean, if you think about how reliant our infrastructure is on satellites,
and that's exactly his point. Is that basically space is now a national concern. If the United States were denied our use of space, very little of what we do right now what makes sense, so to speak. So everything from GPS, getting our helping me get from here to work on time, to any number of things. And so Space Force, and the only reason that it wasn't done before is because the Air Force, like, oh yeah, we can do space and the air, they're the same thing, with totally different environments. And so I think China, Space Force. What's my third one? Help me out. Trump accomplishment, or Trump the vaccine. That's incredible. Huh?
What was the third one?
The vaccine.
I don't know. Does he get credit for that?
Yeah, he initiated Operation Warp Speed or Warp Drive or whatever they were calling it, and it was actually kind of funny sounding, but they there's no doubt he gets credit for that. Even Biden has said that much.
Personally, I'll be selfish. Tax cuts, man.
Hey. I didn't say what has he done for the world. I say what has he done according to Brian.
Yeah, but I was trying to think of my answers were based on what would historians look back and think of.
But I mean, this is where I always have a tax cut. To me, you can't be the party of deficit hawks and at the same time the party of tax cuts.
Money. What does money even mean anymore?
Well, money means well, I mean, money for all intended purposes means that you're going to accept this because the United States has more guns, bombs, and airplanes than anyone else, and so this is good everywhere.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I agree. I just I don't know, man. I mean, money is just like it's almost a. I don't know if this is the right word, but it's almost just like an ethereal thing. It's not. There's nothing real about it anymore, other than I guess the United States government says that it is.
Oh yeah. Nixon's like, hey, you know what? You're going to take this because it's good, and it's good because I say so. That's pretty ballsy.
Do you want to talk about free speech, or
yeah? Let's talk about it.
We got all kinds of things here.
Now, so let's get some parameters. When you say free speech, what exactly are you referring to as what's being on life support?
Exactly, that's what I want to. I want to define what I want to talk about, and then we can talk about it. When I say free speech, now I know free speech in its most literal, according to the Constitution, is the government cannot restrict your free speech, and so then, so what I'm talking about today really is about how
the private sector
services like how the technocrats have basically they decide who can say what, and as far as because the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Googles, they are all hand in hand with government. They're almost an extension of government by now. And so when Twitter bans an Alex Jones or a President Trump,
that to me was bananas. They banned the president. Part of me says it's funny that we're talking about this right now actually too, because earlier today I was thinking about this question of how do you deal with those technocrats? Sorry, not technocrat, but the Silicon elite, so to speak.
Yeah, the big tech. I call them the big tech.
Okay, yeah, big tech. And it seems to me that the only way we can really deal with those guys in a way that kind of protects the country is either we can break them up. So basically, do the same thing we did with the
utility companies, right?
Are they AT&T or
phone
Bell? Yeah, the phone companies. Yes, phone companies. Break them up, or regulate pretty much the internet and everything that flows from it as a utility. That way, you break their backs, and you split them up.
I really do think something needs to happen.
But that is a great question, because you're right. First Amendment free speech is something that the government can't ban your speech, but Twitter and Facebook, I guess we treat them as if they're as if they are actual property, not just intellectual property. Insofar as if you're going to be I could never come into your house and make noise and and shout from the top of my lungs all I want. Just so it makes sense that you can't come on their site and spread rumors and falsehood. But And that actually gets me to another question because, I mean, in keeping with the point I made earlier about disinformation, and now I find myself taking it a lot more seriously. I mean, like I know Trump probably really does believe that he won the election, but I'm sorry, I must be missing my point. I'm sorry, dude.
That's okay. That's fine.
Nope. Yeah, now I'm not gonna be able to sleep over this.
We don't want that.
No, we don't. Maybe I'll get back to my point. Were you going to say something?
No. But this kind of, if we want, this topic kind of bleeds into my next one here, which is social media, which those are big tech is what I'm talking about, and I call them the cancer of the free internet. And that's the Facebook, the Googles, the Twitter. It's just
when you say free, do you mean as in you don't have to pay, or when you say free, you mean
free and
unencumbered?
Unencumbered.
Okay.
The internet used to be. I mean, what the internet used to be, man. I want to make the internet great again.
It used to be, university professors and researchers communicating with one another.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking. I'm just talking about like the early, before the social medias. It was when anyone with a connection and who knew how to write a little bit of HTML could create their sites and do whatever they wanted. And it was just, it was like the wild, wild west of the internet. And now we've got these. I mean, between Google, Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and then even with the in media, like with podcasts. I mean, even with podcasts now. Spotify, iHeartRadio, they're all taking everything and they're putting them in these walled gardens. And I mean, there's probably people now who think that Twitter, Facebook, TikTok are the internet, and we've just
well, if you're 10 years old, that is the internet.
Yeah. But and as far as and aside from that, I mean, social media is just I guess it's great. I mean, the what was supposed to be so great about it in the beginning was that it gave everyone a voice. But what's so horrible about it is that it gave everyone a voice. And
funny how that works, huh?
I mean, and I'm quite serious. If there was no social media, it's entirely possible that that protest in Washington wouldn't have happened. I mean, so much horrible things are a result of this social media, and so much horrible things happen as a result. Like if you was to remove social media from the picture, so many horrible things would not have happened. I guess.
Yeah, but I'm of the opinion that if social media didn't come into existence the way it did, it would have came in. We would have ended up with something similar to it. So I'm not sure that social media was ever avoidable. I think it may be just a part and parcel of, when you have everybody having a connection and everybody's voice potentially mattering, social media, some form of social media, as we know, it was almost bound to develop out of that, in my opinion.
I suppose you're right. I'm looking forward to the day when there's an internet 2.0.
But here's the crazy thing, the Wild Wild West. I mean, people think of the Wild Wild West in pretty romantic terms, as if it was necessarily a good thing. I mean, anyone who lived in the Wild Wild West would definitely prefer not being in the Wild Wild West if they had an option. If that makes sense.
Well, but that's not a direct translation. I mean,
Yeah.
I lived through the wild, wild west of the internet, and I want to go back.
Yeah, but you're also highly technical. I mean, you're more technical than what 95% of the people that use the internet.
Yeah, but that's what there was WordPress, and people could have their own sites without having to know how to code. There was WordPress, and even before that, LiveJournal. I think. I mean, people had a say It's just now everyone gives all of their stuff to these big corporations, and they and the saying goes, when you get something, when what you're getting is free, then you're the product.
Mm-hmm.
And so people, Google is how rich of a company today is because they're an ad. They sell ads. That's where they make their money. They sell ads, and they're selling your information that you give them
for free.
For free. And in Facebook, people upload all their photos to Facebook, or they upload all their photos to Google. I mean, people are giving away all of their intellectual property to these tech giants, and you can't. And if I want to, I don't know how many times I've been sent a link to someone, look at this, but it's on Facebook, and I can't get on it because I'm not on Facebook, so I can't see it. Today, I wanted to. I was wanting to subscribe to someone's podcast, and so I go to their podcast page, and typically I would look for an RSS feed so I could subscribe, but all they had was a button that said subscribe to iTunes or a button to subscribe to Spotify.
Yeah, that's the future right there, buddy.
There was no free. There was no open. I mean, it's just everything is going into these silos that people like me can't get to. And
well, you can get to them. You just don't want to pay the money.
Yeah, right. Well, I don't even want to sign up for their service. There was a trend there for a while, and I'm glad that it died off. But every podcast was starting to get their own app.
What was that about?
Yeah, to listen to a podcast. If you wanted to listen to a podcast, you had to download their app, and well, you didn't have to, but they would have pushed it that far if they could have.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I have one podcast player that works fine. I'm not going to download another app just to listen to your podcast, and I'm glad that didn't seem to take, but it was there. I noticed it. I've been doing the podcast thing for a long time, and I seen that, and it pissed me off.
When did you first notice it?
I'd say about 5 years ago.
Because I think I've been aware of one, maybe 2 or 3 podcasters / YouTubers who went the route of creating their own app, and it was one of those things like, yeah, I like listening to this guy, but do I like him that much to give him any more space on my phone than he already has? No.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it'd be one thing if memory was just limitless and free. Maybe not even then. I've got too many apps as it is. So.
But wouldn't it just be a pain to, if you want to listen to you have 5 favorite podcasts, and you had, and each time when one podcast ended, you had to go and
download an app,
close it, and open up another app and listen to another podcast. I mean,
that was SZA. Hey, do you know if Rush ever got an app?
Well, that's one of the reasons I subscribed to RushLimbaugh.com for a few years, But yeah, but it was, and again, it was paid, but there was other ways to handle it. But yeah, it got to where I was able to hack together a solution to download his podcast outside of an app, but they went and made some changes and broke it. So you had if you wanted to listen to his podcast, which was just a replay of the radio show, you had to use an app, and I didn't renew, and I hadn't, that's how strongly I felt about. That's how strongly I feel about that kind of crap, man.
Oh yeah, so yeah, there is a concerted effort on the internet landscape to kettle or herd you into their little media ecosystem, so to speak.
Yeah, but at least what's funny to me about that is that's kind of how the internet started with a lot of people, myself included. That's what AOL was in the beginning.
What people just?
It was AOL when people, you remember how AOL used to send out their CDs all the time.
Oh yeah. You've got mail.
When you signed up with AOL, they had an AOL app, and that's how you access the internet, was through AOL's application.
Yeah, but they didn't have, it wasn't an app back then. It was just like,
No, it was an app. You accessed it through an application on your computer.
I was being more fluid with the language in terms of.
You meant phone.
Yeah, apps are phones. Applications are computers. Okay. My opinion.
An application. You had a program on your computer is how you access the internet through AOL. And at that time, every company had their own keyword. It was like, keyword Budweiser, and what that was when you was in this AOL program, they had a box up there, and you typed in Budweiser, and that would take you to Budweiser's AOL, whatever.
So it was like the hashtag,
Yeah, it was a early version of kind of like what we have today.
Tweet.
But once I learned that you could use that program to connect to the internet, that all you had to do was minimize it, and then you could open up Internet Explorer, and that gave you you could access the internet without AOL. And that was the wild west of the internet for me.
See, is AOL still a thing?
Oh, it's been sold and bought. It's nothing like what it was, I don't think. I think it's still around, but I don't know what I don't think that it has anything to do with being an internet provider.
Yeah, I just typed in AOL to see what would happen, because I can't remember last time I don't think I even know anyone that has AOL email anymore.
Yeah. Wow, that would be crazy to come across that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is the dark web out there. I've never bothered to check it out yet, but
yeah, everything I've heard about the dark web is that don't. I mean, I'm surprised that you haven't gone to the dark web, but everything I've heard about it is that don't. Like one of our producers visits the dark web, and she's like, you go to the dark web to go see things you can't unsee. Like, just imagine the most depraved, awful, bad things that humans do to one another, and it's all in the dark web.
Yeah. That would be the lawlessness that you was talking about.
Yeah. So I don't think you want to live in have the equivalent of the dark web as our regular internet. That would probably be terrifying.
But I think the problem with the dark web in general is that the way that it's built, it can't be indexed, and so I don't. And I'll be honest. I've never. I don't know how you would navigate. I don't know how you would navigate around the dark web.
Yeah. How would you navigate around vast amounts of information that hasn't been indexed?
Yeah, there has to be some place. There just has to be some sites, I guess, that have links to things. But yeah, I don't know how you. I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe one day I'll check it out. But,
we should have an episode one day where we take a trip to the dark web.
Trip to the dark web. Yeah, I'll document my adventures and misadventures.
Yeah,
but I don't want to see. I don't want to see no stuff that I can't unsee, though.
Yeah. She told me a few things that she saw, and I'm like, yeah, it's probably a good idea for me not to go because I'm the type of guy that would have nightmares and not be able to go to sleep.
I seen the Daniel Pearl beheading, and that freaked me out so much that I just avoid that. I avoid gore at all costs, man. So if it's equal to or worse than that, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I am so grateful that whole fad of lopping off people's head is gone the way of the dodo. That was awful.
That was horrible, man.
And I kind of remember like that was happening early 2000s, like 2003 and stuff like that.
Yeah, it came with
after
whatever group it was that kind of took over after Saddam was tossed.
Al Qaeda in Iraq.
Was it Al Qaeda?
Yeah, I think the name was Al Qaeda in Iraq. I don't think it was actual Al Qaeda. It was just like the folks who showed up to fight the Americans when we were in Iraq. It was like Zarqawi.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Though, you say that it's gone, but sad. I mean, it's still it's still happening today in France, of all places.
Well, what?
That have people cutting off other people's heads.
Oh, I did not know. It just seemed like for a while, like
I know. It's nothing like what it was during.
It'd have been like in the early days of the war on terror. It seemed as if
that was the thing to do.
Yeah, it was like, hey guys, and then it seemed like they looked around like, this is not shocking anymore, But then like years later, the friggin' not Al Qaeda, but the guy that came after them. It seemed like they took it up to the next level. Like, so instead of like beheading, you started seeing like pilots being burned alive and
burned alive. Yep. Put in that cage and just set on fire.
Yeah,
awful.
Awful. So I think it is. It's easy to romanticize the Wild West days, but there's a reason they. It's one of those things like if there's a demand great enough for it, the market will find a way to produce it.
I feel you, man. If you start romanticizing the Wild West, go rewatch Deadwood, right?
Yeah.
That gave you a pretty leave you with a pretty bad taste in your mouth for Wild West.
And I don't think I ever completely showed you or thanked you for giving me or seeing that with me, giving me that. I don't know if you remember, but before I left for Thailand, you pretty much gave me a bunch of music, and Deadwood was one of the series that you gave me. So,
cool. Excellent.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Had to hook you up.
We appreciate it. I feel like I robbed a music store.
Shh. All right. Well, what do you say we move on to some skullduggery, Joe? We're at about an hour and a half, and it's been. I think we've had some good conversations so far.
Let's go do it.
Now, I want to warn anyone who might blush or whatever at some sexual imagery.
Yeah, I'm not reading this.
And I'll read this, but if you don't want to hear about, if you don't want to hear Brian say words like cock and penis and stuff like that, you might want to just hit stop now.
Why would someone be opposed to Brian talking about chickens and human anatomy? I just don't understand. But okay.
Fair enough. And here you go. In 3, 2. All right. So this week in Skullduggery, I found this. Before we get started, I want to ask: are you familiar with the term the Internet of Things?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you want to explain it for people listening who might not know? Or
yeah, I do that. It's the Internet of Things is the connecting the connecting to the web of things that traditionally are not on the web. So Internet of Things might be the sensor in your refrigerator that lets you know that you need to get some more milk, or the sensor. So basically, connecting a bunch of things to the internet in a way that hopefully makes it more efficient and makes our lives easier. Is that a rough approximation?
Yeah, that's a better explanation than I would have given, I think.
Oh, you're kind. So if you ask me that means that somebody is taking this whole Internet of Things a little too far.
They've taken it. Everything gets taken too far, Joe.
Oh.
So I just got to read this headline because it's great. Your cock is mine now.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again?
Your cock is mine now.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. There's some static in the line.
Hacker locks internet.
Sorry.
Hacker locks internet-connected chastity cage, demands ransom. Now, I wasn't exactly sure what a chastity cage was either.
Oh, I mean, you know what a chastity belt is?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I don't know what a chastity cage is. It sounds like something we should look up.
It was a topic that was addressed in the TV show Californication in like season 6 or 7, maybe. But it's essentially like a little cage
for your balls,
a wire metal something cage that you that one puts on their penis and prevents it from expanding.
What a terrible idea! I mean, of all the bad ideas I've heard today, that one takes the cake.
That is a pretty bad idea. A hacker took, and of course, someone decided to put that online, make that internet connected.
Yeah.
So a hacker.
Sorry, you're saying
a hacker took control of people's internet-connected chastity cages and demanded a ransom to be paid in Bitcoin to unlock it. Your cock is mine now, the hacker told one of the victims, according to a screenshot of the conversation obtained by a security researcher that goes by the name Smelly. And is the founder of VX Underground.
Did you get this from The Onion?
No, I got this from Vice.com, actually.
I guess that's somewhat more reputable.
Well, at least they're not known for parody.
Fair enough. Say, quick question, dude. If you were to find yourself by some weird machination to be the victim, your cock is no longer yours. It's his. It's the hackers. Yeah. Would you pay it, or would you go to the authorities to have it have yourself cut out?
I guess I would have to pay it. I would have to pay it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of embarrassing. People are like, what were you doing? Where that seemed like a good idea to you.
Yeah, I can't even envision the situation it would have led to that.
And then the other thing is, why is it connected to the internet? Like, what possible reason?
I don't know, man. I've heard of things like, and again, since this is kind of an explicit topic, I've heard of things like couples, like a woman might have a vibrator that she might wear
Mhm.
throughout the day, and like the boyfriend can
Remotely give her.
remotely change, turn it on, or it's change its levels and whatnot. So
That makes sense to me. If you're into that stuff, cool. But okay, so but mind you, that doesn't lock you down.
right. So
And-
maybe this next paragraph will enlighten us.
All right.
In October of last year, security researchers found that the manufacturer of an Internet of Things chastity cage, a sex toy that users put around their penis to prevent erections, that is used in BDSM community and can be unlocked remotely, had left an API exposed, giving malicious hackers a chance to take control of the devices. That's exactly what happened, according to a security researcher who obtained screenshots of conversations between the hacker and several victims, and according to victims interviewed by Motherboard. A victim who asked to be identified only as Robert said he received a message from a hacker demanding a payment of 0.02 Bitcoin, which comes out to around $750 at the day this article was written, to unlock the device. He realized his cage was definitely locked and he could not gain access to it.
Wait, gain access to what?
It.
The cage?
What was in the cage?
How did they pee?
I don't know, dude. He said, fortunately, I didn't have this locked on myself while this happened. I wasn't the owner of the cage anymore, so I didn't have full control over the cage at any given moment. Now, what bothers me about that makes me think the way that's written is like he's not the owner of the cage anymore, which makes me think that he sold it to someone.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
So that there's someone using a secondhand cock cage.
That's been yeah. You know what? Some things you have to buy for yourself.
Brand new. You don't use hand-me-downs of cock cages.
Yeah. No second. Yeah. It's like buying used underwear. Well, do you ever do?
Right. You don't do that. You just don't do that. I wasn't the owner of the cock cage anymore, so I didn't have full control over the cage at the given moment. Another victim, who goes by the name RJ, told Motherboard in an online chat. RJ said he got a message from the hacker who said they had control of the cage and wanted payment to unlock it. These hacks show once again that just because you can connect something to the internet, it doesn't mean you have to. Especially if you then don't take care of securing the device or its connection. It's incidents like these that make some people think the Internet of Things is just a marketing term for the Internet of Hackable Things, as we call it, or even the Internet of Shit, as others call it. That's the problem with these Internet of Things, is that they all have their own
vulnerabilities.
Yeah, and they all have their own software, and I mean, how often? Just imagine, how often do you update your computer? Now imagine having to update your TV, having to update your light bulbs, having to update your refrigerator, having to update. I mean, there's just it's impossible to maintain these things, and if their security's not rock solid at the beginning, then you're just opened up to trouble.
Yeah, but the thing is that there's no way to get around the security issue with I mean, because it's either going to be so secure that it's no longer convenient to use, and thus people don't use it,
Exactly.
or it's one of those things where it's so insecure you don't know if you don't know if it's working for you or against you. So.
Yep. Once again, I couldn't have put it better myself.
Hey, that's becoming habit forming, man. I'll have to start charging you.
All right, Joe. You know what we didn't do? I didn't send you last week's show for YouTube, did I?
No, I did not. But I figured, like, you know what? We'll talk about it.
We're slacking. I'm slacking.
Well, it's funny because, like, I was like, I woke up last time. I'm gonna do better. I was planning on downloading it and posting it before I even went to work on Friday. So.
Sorry about that, dude.
Okay,
I
right.
will.
Hey,
You'll have. I'll put both of these up. Maybe tonight, but if not, definitely tomorrow. But anyway, YouTube people, like, subscribe, share. Mostly share. I don't really care if you like me or not. but do please share and help, more people to hear. If you find this our conversations compelling. Maybe you don't. I don't know. I think we're pretty damn entertaining.
Very.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Yeah. So yeah. All right, Joe.
And there you have it.
There you have it.
Good show, guys.
You know what happens in 7 days, don't you?
Wait a second. In 7 days? Oh, that's in 6 days. The inauguration. What happens in 7 days, man?
We're doing this all over again, man.
Holy smoke!
We are.
I like it.
Be here. Be there. Be square. And anyway, nice talking to you, Joe. And take care.
Nice as always. Take care as well. Bye-bye.